Hello there, people of the internet. My name is Oduor Jagero, and this is Dialogues with Jagero. Today, I'm in the studio with Odhiambo, Otieno, and I'm in the studio with La Patrona. La Patrona is a feminist. Do you consider yourself a feminist, La Patrona?
Yes.
What does that mean?
What does being a feminist mean?
Yeah.
Kwani, why do we need a definition?
We need, don't you think, Odhiambo, we should need a definition?
Yeah, we need to understand the context.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a feminist, then we should have a conversation, or we should define it. A feminist is somebody who fights for the maslahi of other women.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Then what do you understand by feminism?
I think she's right. It is women who advocate for the rights of women.
And what does that make a man who is a feminist? Do we have men feminists?
Yeah, the men who are feminists. They're called he for she's.
They're called what?
He for she.
He for she.
Yeah.
I don't believe a man can be a feminist.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
Can a colonialist be a freedom fighter?
But
you see...
I mean, because look, if you talk about juxtaposing these two people,
yes,
it's like you're saying that white men could not be abolitionists in the slave or whatever.
But you see now when you call them a colonist,
yeah,
I think what we are losing there is that you are actually bundling everybody together,
yes,
and calling every white man a colonist, because that is why it will be impossible for her concept to make sense, because I don't think all white men are colonists. So then a white man can be against colonization.
Yeah.
Yes, they can be against, but for someone to be like, let's say, a freedom fighter, it's someone who is fighting against oppression that they have experienced, you know. Yes, the people can be supporters, they can be allies. I believe, like, yes, men can be allies, they can support causes for women, but then they cannot co-opt.
Okay.
They cannot co-opt movements that were started by women who are experiencing male oppression, you know? So, yeah, you cannot insert yourself. It's like, for me, I do support masculinity, I do support the rights for men, the humanity, but I cannot co-opt and say I'm a masculinity guru, you know?
Yeah.
I cannot insert myself in a very male space. My duty is to listen, you know, to listen to what men are saying, to allow them the space and to offer support. Yeah, it's not for me to pretend that I understand maleness or I understand how men experience the world or how the world treats them. That's a very male experience. And I'm just an observer, you know?
Makes sense.
Yes.
I think it makes sense.
I disagree because
Yeah.
a feminist is someone who believes in and advocates for the social, political, and economical equality of all genders. It's actually nothing to do with women in that manner. So at its core, feminism challenges systems, okay, and traditions that uphold male dominance or patriarchy, and seeks to create a society where women, men, and non-binary people have equal rights, opportunities, and freedoms. I think this definition has been fucked up by the West again.
They've inserted something there about non-binary.
He paid most. And there is also something there.
Yeah, about non-binary. Yeah.
So I think that a man can be a feminist. I think being a feminist is not like, it is not a biggie. It's like, you know, respecting the rights of women and amplifying their voice in your space. For example, Onyango Otieno looks like, but he doesn't call himself a feminist. He says that there is a word you used.
An ally.
An ally.
Yes, an ally.
But it's
of
a
the
bullshit
movement.
word. I mean, what do you mean you are an ally? You are not a feminist, but you're an ally?
Yeah. Like, when you look at the history of feminism, from the first wave, it's a movement that was started by women exclusively, right?
Yeah.
It's a movement that was centered around bridging certain inequality gaps between women and men.
Okay.
And most of the time, it's something that even initially a lot of men did not support, because they were benefiting from those systems of oppression.
Yeah.
So in now over hundreds of years later, if a man is calling himself a feminist, you are co-opting that women's struggle,
What other areas of life can we talk about? Like, for example, boy child.
Jagero.
Yeah.
La Patrona is excluding men from this, and we don't even want to be included.
Yeah.
We're already part of it because, one, we are fathers of daughters.
Yes.
I'm not excluding men, though.
Just a minute. We're fathers of daughters. We have daughters. And there are things we would not like our daughters to go through. Some of us men were raised by single mothers, and we know the pain that those mothers went through. And we don't want that to happen again to them. Like, for example, if my mother was abused and denied the chance to go to school, I find that as a right that I have to uphold for the people or other women, or even by advocating for us to have Gumbaru education in Kenya.
Yeah.
It's not something that was here from a long time ago, for example. So men are, yes, allies. We should not fight about the technicalities of the definition. Whether we take them as allies or actual feminists or whatever, the truth is they're men, and that's why I said they're he for she's. Yeah, and they're men, and most men actually do not encourage violence or abuse against women. And patriarchy...
Most men.
And patriarchy, in any case, does not abuse women. It does not abuse women. Patriarchy is just the order of the day as it should be, in my view. There are things we can try to change, but they will never change. That's the reality.
So what's the meaning of patriarchy to you?
Patriarchy means order of leadership by men.
Order of leadership.
Yeah, order of leadership by men. Simple.
Order of leadership by men.
By men, yeah. Because matriarchy is order of leadership by women.
And now you say you can be a feminist. So
like for example,
male dominion is what you believe is to be the natural order of the universe. Male dominance.
Yes.
Yeah, now you're calling yourself a feminist.
There's a difference.
Do you realize the irony? Do you realize you're being a fucking joke?
Because my problem is here because, like, did Odhiambo say that you support patriarchy?
I haven't said I support patriarchy. I'm simply defining. And
before I asked him what patriarchy means, he basically said, like, yes, there are things that we should change, but patriarchy in itself is a proper system of existence.
Wait a minute, Jagero. Let's contextualize.
Yeah.
As a communicator, my job is to unpackage stuff to their littlest elements so that we understand them better. So when we talk about patriarchy, when we talk about feminism, all this stuff, let's get the littlest detail of them.
Yes.
Now, when we talk about patriarchy, we didn't choose patriarchy. Us who are seated here.
Yes.
We found a system that is ongoing.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, why is patriarchy there? It boils back down to biology. It boils back down to how the society is structured.
Yes.
Okay? And it goes way back into the Stone Age of human beings, how they were then. That who had the power of foraging, who were more predisposed into survival in terms of fitness.
Yes.
It was men. They were the ones who had to go and find stuff, especially food, and protect the women and the offspring.
Yes.
Okay? Now, as we move along, things are modernizing. But even in that modernization, there's that natural predisposition of things. For example, men are naturally predisposed to take leadership because even in their thinking, they are more logical than women who are more emotional in their thinking. Yes, women are also logical, but they are more emotional than logical. Men are more logical than emotional. That's why when you're sitting with a woman, the first thing they will always want you to listen to is actually to listen to them and not to give them solutions. But when you come to sit with a man, the first thing a man will want to deal with you is to give solutions to the problem you're bringing. Because men have been created or have been socialized in a format that they have to give solutions to every problem.
Yeah.
So if you are able to problem solve, it is very easy for you to take leadership. And that's why women who problem solve take leadership easier than the others who want to be listened to more. Because if you listen to, I'm going to lead you. Is that easy? Yeah.
So because
it's very contextual.
Because this whole conversation is going to take us back to our main topic actually, which is being a stud wife. And I'm going to take you. What did you want to say something before? Yes.
I'm saying like even if you look at the studies, science, they say like there's nothing like men being more logical and women being more emotional. Is that human beings? Each human being is able to balance rationality with being emotional. Like there's no person who doesn't exist with a form of rationality in their thinking, in the brain,
That's very true.
in whatever. So it's a complete social fallacy to brand women as more emotional, even though most crimes of passion are actually committed by men. Like just because men, for example, are not crying, it doesn't mean they're not emotional. It's just like, for example, if a man gets angry enough to punch a hole in a wall, it's not viewed as a loss of emotional control, even though that's what essentially it is, you know? So it's those things that have been, when a lie is repeated enough times, it starts to sound like a fact.
Okay.
Yeah. So
feminism. Do you agree, Patrona, that it is about ensuring fair treatment, equal pay, equal rights, and equal access to opportunities?
And it's also about ending of all forms of oppression towards women. How. I feel like feminism is not this sort of thing you can define in a simple sentence and narrow it down to just a very simple definition.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of feminism theory, which is like feminism is a whole philosophy, which has been written about, which has been theorized about. So it's even unfair to try to reduce it to something very specific, Okay. But at its core, it's all about ending oppression, in the society.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there are some people who say that patriarchy. Do you believe that patriarchy is entirely evil?
Yes.
Like its existence is to lord over women and to protect their powers and to offer direction. Because according to the study, there are two types of patriarchies. So there is one that denies women equal access to rights, education, wealth, and leadership. It also has a controlling nature in it. It limits women's autonomy over their bodies and choices, marriage, careers. There is also the patriarchy that also hurts men by forcing them into rigid roles, that men should not cry, man must always be providers, man must dominate.
Yeah.
And then there is also the other not entirely evil argument about patriarchy, which is that in early societies, like Odhiambo has said, is that physical strength mattered more for hunting and warfare. So men often took leadership roles. Patriarchy sometimes ensured stability in family or clan structures with clear divisions of labor. Some people find comfort or identity in traditional roles, and this for me is what whenever people are talking about patriarchy, this is what I believe is that I don't know where the word came from, but I think as you define patriarchy, it's sort of a society that is led by men. That is the kind of overview definition of patriarchy. That's a society that is led by men. Now, in my thinking, leading is not entirely a wrong thing. But then, if we come to the nitty-gritties of leading, we can decide, okay, how are we going to lead? So, for example, I have my grandfather who had 2 wives, okay? He had the first wife, he had the second wife. The second wife which did not have children, okay? And my grandfather was not a very nice man. All right, to the 2 women, especially the last woman. I don't know why, probably because she did not have a child, but she had a lot of disrespect for the younger woman. Now, my grandfather had all the animals. He had got all the molasses that he was selling because it was a molasses seller. Okay, and I am thinking that he owned all these properties, and if my grandfather Odhiambo decided that I'm going to love my second wife, I'm going to love my first wife, and I'm going to provide leadership, and I'm going to make sure that they're well protected from outside threats. The children are well protected. The women are giving their right, and he is a man that everybody can look up to. Then, if you now talk about patriarchy, then I'm seeing a patriarchy that's completely harmless, whose idea is only to protect the people that you've sired, the people that you've brought together, and to lead them to a particular place where you want to go. But my grandfather, for example, was very violent to the second wife. He was very violent to his own children. As a matter of fact, there is one child that he took his hand, put in a boiling chicken. Now, if you look at this man who thinks that he is the head of this home, that he is the leader of this home, and he can use that power to burn his children, to batter his wife, to kill cows using uncouth things, then that is patriarchy that is completely lost. So that is why, for me, I think that sometimes we take these terms, and then because somebody has abused them, then we turn around and say that, okay, let us throw away this child with the baby water.
No, Jagero, the thing is this, that what has enabled that person to abuse the power?
Yes.
Is the question. You do not look at the symptoms only. You get to the root cause. Because every person we usually say like absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's why you never hear anyone saying we can have an ethical sort of dictatorship, because like
benevolent dictators.
Yes, because
you don't believe in benevolent dictatorship.
You know for sure that when someone has a lot of absolute power and a lot of control, it's so easy for them to use it in the wrong way. Right? So even with patriarchy, it's the sort of system that socializes men to believe they are superior to women, Now, if right from the start you believe by the virtue of being born a man, you're superior and this person is inferior to you, it's hard to humanize a person you do not consider an equal. You do not see their humanity the way you see theirs. Like it starts with the psychological conditioning where you know that, yes, I'm the superior gender here. So we cannot look at the symptoms, even how we socialize our children as they grow up, the sort of ideologies we teach them. If you teach them since you're a boy, you're not supposed to cry, you are not supposed to be in touch with, your emotions or whatever, you are a man, those are girls' things, it becomes how they see women in society, how they see women around them, it becomes a problem, So it's not a question of having a nicer patriarchy or having a more horrible patriarchy. It's like saying we can have a form of, colonial occupation, which is nice to the people.
Yeah.
It's colonizing, or a form of dictatorship, which is benevolent or nice. It doesn't work that way. You have to be able to exist in societies where there's a humanity, a shared humanity for all the people in the society, where people have autonomy, some level of autonomy over their own lives, where, for example, resources, even right now, until right now in Kenya, most of the land is owned by men,
Yes.
And again, that is, it did not happen by chance. It's by design from system where there was a lot of male dominion. So you realize like we're living in societies where women are even extremely poor in such societies. And that's why you find that for women now to get to a certain level of probably financial stability, they feel they have to attach themselves to a man. And what does that do again? It translates to that man having more power and this person being their subordinate, which again creates an unfair dynamic, which now again births the horrible patriarchy that's abusive to women and children. So it's, like I said, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Can I ask you something personal before I bring in Odhiambo? And this, you can answer this or not. The men in your life, are they patriarchal? Do you think they're patriarchal or they are nice men? Like, for example, your grandfather, for example, your father, for example, and those what did you, because sometimes the reason why I'm asking you this is that sometimes we are speaking about other men, and sometimes these other men, we can't find them. You see the way sometimes we talk about men who are these men? So, for example, for me, I know my grandfather was a bad patriarch. We have good patriarchs and bad patriarchs. I know my grandfather was. My father was a provider, but was also a wife batterer. Okay, I'm an alcoholic. I don't know where that places him, but I think it tends towards, the ones that were. I think my father had a lot to learn from his own father, and he did not allow himself to be his own man. Okay, so even my brother was also battering his wife until he got born again and then stopped battering his wife, because now the Lord Jesus was now the patriarch. You see, so what do you think about the men that were in your immediate vicinity? What were they? Good men? Were they patriarchs? They were not patriarchs, because that is now going to take because you're meant to pick a tujaingia.
I cannot say the men in my life were patriarchs. Of course, we exist in a society where things happen a certain way. Yeah. But I also feel like I've come from homes where each person has always been able to exist in their own power, No one is trying to dominate the other person. No one is trying to, make rules for the other person. You can't do this, you can't do this, I'm the head. Like, those are all things I've never witnessed in my home. Like, even right from my grandparents, who I hang out with a lot, who I love a lot, it's always been, it's like a partnership. It's like two people who are doing life together, and it's a lot of collaboration, Yeah. You see a lot of collaboration. You see a lot of, it's like a business partnership where everybody brings in their strength and, because they're invested in the well-being of the children, they're invested in the well-being of the home, and they are very goal-oriented. For example, the kids have to go to school. How do we do this? So I've never been raised in that household where I feel there is hierarchies.
Odhiambo.
Yeah.
Do you think that women are more emotional than men? Because at some point we just have to go to experience them, and sometimes even define those things. Because, for example, me and my wife, I don't think we are emotionally at the same frequencies, and I think we don't have to be. But I feel like most of the way she goes about her life is more emotional than I am. I don't know, but I just feel like she's even the way they want. I don't. What are the women in your life? How do they look like? Do they cry in the toilet like you do?
Interesting. So, women in my life are really feminine, of course.
Yeah.
And what brings about femininity, there is a hormone in the body that exists in excess in women.
Yeah.
I think it must be called oxytocin, if I'm not wrong. And there's another one called estrogen, if I'm not wrong. There are two, which then increase the femininity of women. Oxytocin and
You had your time. You're tafadhali, please.
Is there a question? Are you disagreeing though?
No, I'm listening.
Yeah,
and observing.
Yes, please.
I'm listening and observing.
Yes.
Yeah. So oxytocin and estrogen existing in women is what brings the femininity in them. It's what brings the fineness. In fact, oxytocin is a shy hormone.
Yeah.
That's what they always say. It does not come out as aggressive or whatever. And even women who are doing hormonal therapy, especially those who are menopausal, you'll find them going for oxytocin injections or something like that.
Yeah.
Men have the other hormones which are very aggressive, and that is, I think, androgen and testosterone, if I'm not wrong. And you find women who have in excess of androgen or testosterone in them are almost masculine, and they always have a condition called PCOS, if I'm not wrong. I'm not very certain, but we can look it up. It's called PCOS.
Yes.
Yeah. And you find them taking more to male activities.
Yeah.
Like they engage more in aggressive sports, like football, etc. They would want to engage.
But we also have women now in very aggressive sports. We see them in bodybuilding.
Yeah,
we see them in soccer.
Yes.
We see them in jumping. We see them
even in that you will find that there are feminine women in bodybuilding, and then there are masculine women in bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So why am I giving this definition? Because I told you I unpackage stuff.
Yeah.
You'll find that if we go to the basics of our creation or the basics of our biology or our structure, of our build-up,
yes,
you'll find that there are things that make us the way we are that are out of our mental capacity, out of our mind control. And these are things that we can't choose. We find ourselves with them.
Yes.
So that said, there's a way that oxytocin and estrogen define the activities and the operation of women.
Yes.
The same way to testosterone defining how men operate. Now, this is very basic, but it's then the foundation of understanding the emotional beat and the logical beat. Now, if you look at testosterone, what it pushes you to is what I call the foraging power. That you can dare.
This foraging that you keep saying, is it like hunting? Or
Yes,
what
it's
is
like
it?
hunting, exactly. It's like it's a whole bare land or it's a whole forest.
Yeah.
But you have the power to go through it and come out with something. That's foraging.
Yeah.
Most women don't have the power to forage, for example. Okay.
They
Now,
can forage though, right?
They can, yes, they can. But they would not do it as men would.
Do you think it is not culture and socialization?
Remember what I said, that the foundation first is in the hormones. Before now we come to the culture.
Yeah, because I am seeing here that the biology and the emotion is saying that men and women's brains process emotion slightly differently. For example, research shows that women may have stronger activity in regions linked to empathy and emotional memory.
That's the amygdala and the hippocampus.
Yes, and then they are talking about hormones, which is the estrogen, progesterone, and oxytocin, can affect mood and bonding. Testosterone in men influences risk-taking and aggression.
Exactly.
These hormones rhymes sometimes makes women's emotions more visible.
So that is the predisposition. That's biology right there. It is not Odhiambo saying what is in his mind.
But biologically, it also says that men just feel emotions just as strongly.
Of course.
But what happens is that because of what they have been told and whispered to their ears, they sometimes decide not to show them.
And that is why you asked me, when you're asking this question that I'm answering, you asked, do the women in your life cry like you cry in the toilet? Because you know that I cry.
Yes.
Yeah? So men also feel. There are men who are expressive, and then there are men who are guarded.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to go back to your topic because now this is the most interesting.
No, again, I also feel like He has said a few things that need to be fact checked.
Fact check.
Yeah, of course.
Fact check.
One, PCOS, it doesn't compel women to be more aggressive or to seek out male sports or
No,
whatever.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. What I said, let me just clarify. What I said was women who have existence in excess of testosterone or androgen, I think, will often have PCOS. That's what I said. I didn't say that because of PCOS then they proceed to
what I wanted to clarify is like, first of all, PCOS, a lot of women have it.
Yeah.
Even like women who look physically extremely feminine, they have it. And it's a huge cause for infertility.
Yes.
As opposed to male tendencies. That's one. What's the other point did you say that no?
You've forgotten. If you've forgotten, we are going back now to your topic straight.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Because this is now where we are going to separate issues. Because then I think that with this topic now, Patriarchy comes back wailing again. A trad wife, right? So the question... I hope that you are enjoying that episode, people of the internet. You know, everybody says there is no job. And that is true. Also, that was me 10 years ago. The problem is that everybody is trying to get a job in their own town, in their own city, in their marketplace. They ask friends for jobs. Mothers call uncles, uncles call fathers, but there are no jobs, right? Let me tell you what no one is telling you. Jobs migrated online. What I actually mean is there are many, many jobs around the world and there is no one to do them. I have worked for a long time online, I think more than 10 years. I work for Americans, I work for Europeans, I work for the Chinese, the Australian, Canadians, the Ugandans, name all of them. And last year, I had a eureka moment. I said to myself, you know what? I should compile what I have been doing for the last 15 years. So in 2024, I wrote a book called Goldmine, 18 Side Hustles for Africans. And it sold a lot of copies. In fact, I was going for, sometimes I was receiving 500 orders in a day. In 2025, something happened. AI came. I think in 2025, AI came. AI came in 2024, but in 2025, it is here with us. And people say AI is taking away their jobs. And for me, I'll say false. There are actually AI jobs. Na mimi ni nani? I created more jobs. We now have in my book 25 online and offline side hustles that you can do anywhere in the world, whether you are in the village, whether you are in your small town, whether you're in a marketplace, whether you are in your house, you can do them. In this powerful volume 2, I share 25 new actionable online hustles specifically researched and tailored for Africans. My new book provides clear step-by-step guidance, drawing from my extensive experience and research, including the mistakes I have made and lessons I have learned over 15 years in this online job market. You can become an executive assistant to busy folks in Europe, America, and Canada. You can also get paid for tasks like watching videos and taking online surveys. There are many of them and they're in my book. You can also build a business as a virtual assistant, start an e-commerce without a shilling. You can also become an affiliate marketer or an online English tutor. And you can also do tens of AI jobs, and they're all in these books. If you have a job, that is fine, but I know around you there are so many people that are always looking for jobs and at home watching Netflix. Buy this book for your brother, for your sister, for your mother, cousin, husband, who is back at home all day, all night watching Netflix. Okay? Buy it for your friend, that friend who is always asking you for cash, you can buy this book for them. All the information is in the description below. You can also inbox me, you can WhatsApp me, or you can go to my website, which is oduorjagero.co.ke. The book is only 1,000 Kenya shillings. Or if you're anywhere around the world, the book is $10. So thank you very much. Back to programming. question that we were supposed to answer today is whether there are some women that have decided that, me working, being in a matatu at 6 in the morning is not for me. I do not want to go to work. I don't want to split firewood. I don't want to do those things. I want to be a strad wife. So it's a woman who embraces and promotes traditional gender roles in marriage and family life. Cindy, this woman is that her idea primarily is homemaking. Yes, cooking, cleaning, raising children, and supporting her husband as the breadwinner. So, if that were the case, then do you think we have patriarchy in that setup?
I believe that's a whole different conversation from this conversation on trad wives.
Yeah.
And in this conversation on trad wives, it's always tied on women who are not meant to work. Women working is a modern concept.
Okay.
You know? And it goes to the definition of what is work. That's one. What's work? From there, I find that most of the time when we are having conversations online, we tend to borrow a lot from the Western side of the world. So most of the time when people talk, we talk with talking points we have borrowed from right-wing American accounts.
Yeah.
And that's not our context as Kenyan people. We have always existed in this society in our own way. And I remember yesterday I was with Odhiambo, and Odhiambo, and I asked him, in the society you are born, in the society you live in, was there a time when women never worked? That's a question I asked him. And I'm so glad I asked him the question because he reminded me of something. He said that in most African societies, even with the existence of polygamy, it used to be that a man wants to marry a lot of women and have a lot of children because he has a lot of land and he needs people to work and tend to the land that he has. So he pointed it out, and it reminded me even of social studies when we were learning, and we would be asked, why was it important for an African man to marry several wives? And it always went back to the answer, like, there is a provision of labor, you know? So
the women and children. So you marry many wives, so you've got 6 wives.
Yeah.
You are most likely to take care of that acreage of land.
Yeah.
And then you add on children, and then you can get more acres taken care of.
Yes, and even in harvesting, and even as a person, as a Kenyan woman who grew up in Meru, even when it was coffee harvesting season, all of us would be out there, will pick coffee, you know, as a community, like as a family, and it's something that will go on in most homes. So this idea of Kenyan women buying into right-wing ideologies of trad wives, it means they are ignoring the context of their very own people, you know. I'm aware, like, even you as Jagero, I'm sure you have sisters, grandmothers, aunties. Or are you telling me like none of those women ever worked at any point in their lives?
But my thinking is that work, and this is the problem I have with women most of the time. That when they are thinking about, like even Felgona said here in this podcast, that when these women are going online and saying that we need equal opportunity at work, which African woman has never worked? They have always worked.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So when they start mentioning again trad wives, you know, when we women, when we watch shows such as Bridgerton, Downton Abbey, these are shows that are built around aristocracy, you know, where there was these ladies. And the problem is a lot of us, we do not realize we are working class people, you know. So when we watch those shows, Bridgerton, Downton Abbey, they do not see themselves in those women in the kitchen doing labor, like serving these aristocratic women. You know, they imagine themselves as aristocratic women. Like even in European societies, the only women who did not work were women who were born upper class, you know? Women in lower classes were working and serving those women. And now it's the same thing in our African setup. Even as a woman, when you're out there talking about women need to relax in their feminine energy, women are not supposed to be working, I always ask, go back to your grandmother, you know? Who gave you the idea that women were never meant to work, when the women who raised us, even from our great-grandmothers, they were productive, you know, like they used to farm. Of course, like women, like the men will take the djembes during when the digging is happening. But then when it came to things like weeding, seeds, like.
Do you think that perhaps it is the idea of urban work that is you know, boggling them and making them feel like, I don't think this shit is made for me. So it's, for example, waking up and then being in a conference room, you know. I don't know. What do you think? Would you rather your wife is at home, you know, doing the caretaking that strad wives want, or what do you think should happen in Nairobi?
Well, as La Patrona is saying, I think I agree with her on so many things about this, because basically there's no conflict in this. It's just a matter of definition and finding out this phenomenon that is trying to come about by naive urbanites. Naive urbanites. One, personally, I've never dated a woman who does not work, because first of all, I'll meet a woman, the next question I'll ask, most of my people laugh at me. The first question I'll ask is,
when you say work, what do you mean? I
mean, you must be engaged in a meaningful activity that is giving you an income.
Yeah, outside of your home.
Not even, whether it is in your home or outside of your home, because in your home you could be having a farm.
Like outside productive labor.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to do productive labor.
Yeah. You must be doing something.
Productive labor.
There must be something going on for you.
Hey.
All right? Because then how do you derive purpose? Because I don't believe in performance. I believe in purpose. And purpose comes from presence. Yeah. So after performing, for all that time you've been performing in school, trying to become number 1, 2, 3, etc. Now that you're an adult.
Okay.
What are you living for? And what you're living for is majorly how you do your work or what work you're doing.
Okay.
Okay? So women, in my view,
have
the freedom of choice just the same as men.
Yeah.
Because this is very personal to decide that I'm going to work or not. If you decide you're going to work, the better for you. Your economic status will rise and your social status will rise.
Okay.
But if you decide not to work, you will be lazy. The next thing is that you will be suffering with the people who are suffering. Okay? So even from that very basic perspective, I believe that it's a personal choice for many people. But this funny concept of women saying that they want to retract, not women, some women,
yes,
the naive urbanites, retracting and saying that they want to be trad wives. Okay, continue to be a trad wife, be at home, take care of the children. If the man is able to take care of you and you guys have an agreement, so be it. It's your choice. But if you're trying to do that to preserve yourself at the expense of the family, then let me tell you, the man will move on. Especially in this generation or in this new age, the man will move on with a working wife. Especially Jagero,
yes,
if your point of attraction or at the point of meeting, you and your wife met because of work or at work, then you degrow.
Yes,
the man will grow past you. The same way, if a man you met your wife when you were studying, and you stopped it at degree, and the wife has gone for a PhD, probability that she's going to leave you is high because our situation, our environment is changing.
I want to come back to La Patrona. La Patrona, I want to put something on the table and then put it apart, and we try to put it back together.
Yeah.
When Odhiambo, I think Odhiambo is sort of looking at it in a different way. So there is a woman who has gone up to the university level, like a friend of mine, who is actually having masters in something that I've forgotten. She decided that she's not going to work for a long time. And what she wanted to do is to raise her children, that were about 4, into the people that she wants them to be. And so she took that idea of nurturing those children, making milk for them, cooking for them, feeding them, doing everything she needs to do, washing their clothes, everything, basically everything. Now, I do not think that that's a trad wife. That's a trad wife. I think that is a woman that is working.
Yes.
Okay? But then I want to give you an idea of another woman who says, okay, I don't want to work. She remains at home. But the man will have to pay for 2 maid servants to do the cleaning, to do the clothes, to feed the children while she's watching Netflix. I think that's a trad wife.
Yes, actually.
Yes.
Is that what you mean by trad wife?
Yes, actually.
Yes.
I've actually even talked about this on social media.
Yeah.
I feel like this ideology, which again I say it's borrowed from right-wing nonsense, It's people who are, because I told them, like, there's nothing like being a person who doesn't work. Even if you're not formally employed, you will get your children ready for school.
Yeah.
You will do things at home. If your husband has a construction and he has to work and someone needs to go and pay people in the evening, it will be your role to go do that. If it's planting season, you will go and supervise, This whole trad wife thing, it's people, adults, who have refused, because of course, like I know we are living in very hard economic times where there's a lot of unemployment and, with capitalism. And now when life gets hard, you find that now we have adults who are fighting for their right to be babies. Like babies are the only people in our society who are allowed to be useless. Nata hiyo, once you get to a certain age, like 10 years, your mom starts telling you, wewe ndio utosha vyombo za lunch leo,
Yeah.
You will do this. You start being trained on how to be a skilled member of the society. So we are dealing with people who are fighting for their right to be toddlers, not even 10-year-olds. They're fighting for their right to be like babies. It's only a baby is allowed to be useless because they are babies, They're there to be taken care of. So these are adults who are refusing growth, who are rejecting responsibility, adults who are so insistent on regressing to a time when they were 1 year old and someone had to change their diaper, feed them, such things. And they imagine there's a man in this world who is going to hire drivers for them, hire 5 different house ups, and their existence is going to be all about waking up in the morning, wearing some fancy dress, exercising,
sitting in the veranda and looking and the sun is coming out. And then the woman comes with a huge tray of whatever, and then she takes photos and put on Instagram.
Yeah, and that is delusion, because I keep asking everyone I meet, have you ever seen this thing in real life?
I've never seen.
Like I told them, it doesn't matter. Even if you're not formally employed, you will work, because at home, each person, hata mtu yote mwenye amekaa nyumbani, we all stayed at home a lot during COVID, right? And the thing about being in the house is that kazi za nyumba zishangi, you are always doing something. You wake up, you make breakfast, the sink is full of dirty dishes. Again, and the kitchen is dirty. You wipe, you do the dishes, you cook lunch, the sink is dirty again, and you're wiping the kitchen and you're taking the trash out. Next thing, you still need to now start getting dinner ready, And even if you go to sleep, you wake up, the bed needs to be made. There's always work to be done at home. So this idea that we can have this group of adults who are basically 2-month-old babies that are being catered for, it's delusion, it's fiction.
Let me ask you, Patrona, something is interesting here, because then I hadn't understood this topic at all. Especially this bit of defining what a trad wife is. So there are women who are thinking
Yeah.
that this is actually a thing that can be done.
Yes.
They're not afraid of diabetes because they're going to be overweight soon.
No, see.
Because we just eat and do nothing. You're going to be overweight.
It's again, I see the problem in social media.
Yeah.
They see aesthetics, and because they are contextually illiterate, they do not know how to put those things into...
Contextually what?
Yeah, that's interesting. I love the terminology. I found the
contextually illiterate, it's when you read something in theory,
yeah,
and you're not able to put it in the context of your daily life.
It's like
you
you're
are
watching.
unable to look at your neighbors. How does my society operate? I usually say that most of these things, it's basic observation.
Like I think it points to like when I see most women who watch telenovelas and want their love lives to be as telenovelas. Especially, I think, because if you talk about this woman who comes in a sundress with a large tray of pastry and it is served in a swimming pool and there's a pool
And slimming tea.
Yes.
and slimming pastry and slimming tea. At the same time.
They can when other people are working, they wake up, they go to the gym, they come back, someone has put breakfast on the table, they take breakfast, then they call their other child wife. Friends, and they go for Pilates, which the husband has paid for.
What is a Pilates?
Pilates, it's exercise.
That
They're
is
usually
very-
very intense
very
exercise.
intense exercise,
Yeah,
yeah.
for women like in
Yeah.
But so they do the Pilates for 1 hour, and then they go to some restaurant, they get their cute coffee or their cute matcha, and they go for a walk, and then they go
They go for a walk
traveling.
preparing the weight.
Those are Karen women.
And then probably they do swimming in the evening, and then they go home and they shower and they dress nicely to wait for their husband because they have preserved their feminine energy. It's fiction. You are watching someone who has curated their life on Instagram. You do not know how they live when
the
their
cameras
cameras
are
are off. And you imagine that's real life. And you also fail to look at the economic state of your country, because you find that a lot of time women, sometimes we are deluded to think marriage can take us from one social class
to the other.
to the next. And yes, it's true, like there are people outliers who are usually lucky enough to marry in a higher social class. But when you look around the society, most people marry their equals. It's people who met at work and got together. You see like doctors getting married to fellow doctors because they spent a lot of years in school together, Like the people you hang out with are the people you date. So you find like even the men who are supposed to take them to a different social class, they do not hang out in the same social spaces. You are most likely never going to meet them. You don't even know where they hang out with. You hang out in the same spaces with the people within your social class. And we often forget this. From there, a lot of people do not know where they stand in the social hierarchy, They cannot recognize that I'm a very working class person, and all working class people have always worked. So they look at this
Working class. So you want to get into working class, but you're not working.
Like you belong in the working class, but you're delusional enough to imagine you'll probably meet a president's son and they will go and give you that child wife life, which is again a fallacy because you find like politicians' kids marrying each other, teachers' kids, like it's always the people you hang out with. Like you meet people in the social spaces you're in, So yeah, it's not even practical.
But I mean, let me be the devil's advocate for the purposes of the discussion only for 2 minutes. One, are these trad wives complaining? These trad wives in Kenya, are they complaining somewhere? That
I don't think that
is there any complaint that they could be having?
I think you are calling them incorrectly because they are mostly not trad wives.
What are they?
They are the people she's talking about.
Of course, and that's why I'm calling them trad wives. That where they are they feeling some level of pain, or are the men complaining?
No, the conversation here is that it's a growing ideology.
Oh, it's a growing ideology.
Yes.
And are men becoming uncomfortable with it? The men you've interacted with who have trad wives at home.
No one has child wives at home, essentially, that I know of.
Okay.
And again, you find that most of the people who are always chiming these ideologies, they are unmarried. You know, and it's
like that.
it's aspirational.
It's aspirational.
They're actually aspirational child wives. They watch white women on TikTok and on Instagram, and they aspire.
Is there a lot of that on Instagram, though?
Yes, there is one called, I don't know, the Ballerina Farm. She was even profiled a while back by the New York Times, and she's married to some billionaire. And yeah, But again, when you also look at these people, people imagine they are child wives who are not working, but social media is work. You know, especially when you have millions of followers.
Yeah, that's work.
It's work. You are advertising. You're working with brands. You are making products and selling them. So that woman who is shaping this ideology
is actually working.
Is actually a married woman who works. And now because we have young people who can easily, who do not look beneath the surface, you know, to realize like, to realize this person who is teaching me this stuff, my views are making them get paid.
Yes.
You know? So they are not, like child wives, it's an aesthetic, but in reality, it's rarely lived, you know? And now it becomes worrying when people who do not understand the context of who they are as Kenyans, they start buying into those things.
How do they want to actualize this? Because, well, first of all, as you've rightly said, it's inspirational. Yeah. Secondly, how are they trying to make this work for them?
You know, I feel like there's a time I saw in some group I was in. It was for high-value women, you know.
A group for high-value women.
You know,
what's a high-value woman looking like? I don't know.
I don't know. It's like high-value men. I also never know. I always say, I always say men who call themselves, high-value and women who call themselves high-value women. I would want for them to meet and marry each other and leave the rest of us alone.
Yes, please.
You know, out of it. Yeah. So in these high-value...
But La Patrona, you don't want to get married to a high-value man.
What's a high-value man?
I don't know.
Yeah? That's why I say like high-value men and high-value women.
What comes to the top of your mind when you hear high-value man?
It's performative behavior.
Okay, like...
Like it's not based on any authenticity, you know? It's... performative, like it's like when a man goes and lifts 2 times in the gym and then he posts a video. I have value like man like me who works out. I've never.
What will be a high value man for you?
For me, I don't like using the term high value.
Okay,
in the first place.
What would be the ideal man?
Yeah, for me, I believe in common sense. You know, I believe in the politics of common sense, not performative internet nonsense.
Okay.
So for me, a man will be someone who has a sense of responsibility and duty. It will be someone who has discipline, you know, because I believe like discipline and grit are the things that take people far in life.
I agree.
So I usually admire a driven person, someone who doesn't just talk about, I want to achieve this, I want to achieve this. Someone who has the discipline and the grit to achieve the things they want. Someone who has the discipline to stay consistent in one thing. Someone who is sexually disciplined enough not to...
Sexually disciplined?
Not to be the person who is always in a sex scandal. You know, girls are putting you on some Instagram stories because you sleep around with everyone. You know, that's being a person who doesn't have enough respect for yourself, or like even the dignity to respect your own children and family, you know. So it goes down to those things, like a sense of duty and responsibility. That's someone who is going to take care of the children, someone who is going to, you know, look at his family as, like this is, I need to put in work here. They will not wake up one day and say, I'm going to buy milk and vanish for 40 years.
Yeah, because
you know?
if I hear about high-value men, I always think about a high-flying executive or a pilot.
I've actually never seen a man who was a productive man in society calling himself a high-value man. That's language that I see on social media with these men who run masculinity podcasts. You know?
Like who? Is that your buddy? Jagero? Like that buddy of yours?
Chill, Odhiambo,
chill. And these men who will wake up, I think there's one on Instagram, who would wake up in the morning and do something.
Are they the ones sweeping?
The ones who are waking
cleaning
up
tables? I don't know.
No, the ones who are putting their face in ice water, getting into an ice bath. Then they go to the gym and they do this. And then they sit on a podcast and start saying, I'm a man, I'm a patriarch. And the whole time they've probably never been at work and even been a team leader. You've even never been a team leader, but you're on a podcast calling yourself, I don't know.
There's a friend of Jagero who is like that. I just don't want to mention him.
No. No. Let us not get personal. Let us not get personal. So for sure.
They will. The last time, the last time he was mentioned in my podcast, he told me to apologize.
Really?
Yes, he made a long post, a long ass post, a novel of a post.
Yes.
And said that I was slandered on Oduor Jagero's podcast. And I would like him to retract and apologize to me and my fans.
High value man.
So what is it called? I'm a person who has grown around very productive men. And even the men in my social circles, they're men who are lawyers, doctors, men who are in business, men who are doing well. I've never sat down with anyone in real life, you know, and had them sitting down there saying, I'm a high value man, I'm a high value man.
Putting their face in ice. Putting their face in ice.
I even know women who are out there getting PhDs, who are married to good people, and you don't hear them sitting there, I'm a high value woman. These things are usually performative by social media content creators. That's why I say they need to find each other and get married to one another.
I agree with La Patrona because checking here, somebody's defined a high value man as a man who knows how to master his mind moment to moment. He has a positive outlook because he knows he can be, do, or have anything he puts his mind to. He doesn't allow any negativity to occupy his mind. He pivots his thoughts to the positive outcome. He wants it and moves forward. Then I asked, what is the salary of a high value man? Then this is what the internet and its people are saying. That the mark of a true high-value man is the ability to generate six-figure income consistently for at least 3 years in a row. Jagero, are you a high-value
man? One of those podcasters.
There's a time.
And you'll find them selling courses to men. Courses to men. Like these are gay people who are.
Which courses? Like academic courses?
They usually have these funny courses. Or let me teach you how to do forex, crypto, Bitcoin. I told you, I've never seen a normal member of society calling themselves high value.
Yeah, I think we'll say in PR that
they are teaching crypto.
They're teaching. They're always selling funny internet courses on social media.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, like Andrew Tate. He's got a lot of courses.
Yeah.
Oh,
and they're very expensive.
Yes, and they're very expensive.
On
there are
crypto.
courses that got up to $1,000.
Yeah.
I'm naive.
And you can imagine he goes to Twitter and he has got millions of followers. So imagine if he got even 500 people. That's 500,000 USD.
That's good money. Mm-hmm. Good for him. You see, that the first time I ever heard of this thing about high value men was sometimes in 2016. I was sitting with a friend of mine in Kisumu, and she came with this Bwana Mkubwa who was with us in the same hall. And then after the man left, was rushing back to the airport, this lady started telling me how sex with high value men is difficult. I was asking her, like, how is it? How is he? He's Bwana Mkubwa. We see him a lot, and seemingly you guys have a thing. Then she was now opening up, like having sex with these guys is really difficult because high value men don't do the work. They want you to be the one who does the work. I mean, you get the point. Yes, and I asked her, why are you defining
Ride them until kingdom come.
Exactly. I was asking her, why do you call him a high value man? Like, these men who are successful in the community or in the society, men who don't follow women. It is women who then follow them, which means men who attract women. And like, oh, okay, I didn't know. Now, today, as she's speaking, I'm just like, by the way, this high value men is a construct of because value is not comparative.
Performative.
Yeah, value is not comparative. You cannot say, because Jagero has integrity, and for me, I am a hard worker, my hard work value is actually higher than Jagero's integrity. Because maybe Jagero having integrity means in the Kenyan community, sorry. In the Kenyan community, you cannot survive, you cannot make more money. And with my hard-working value, I can meet a few people and make money for the whole year in January. And that makes me a high-value man. So I agree with you. It's a very fake euphemism for lack of proper defined work.
And also it's, when people are growing up and getting into adulthood, there is that stage of defining your identity. Now you find that the reason as I was telling you I believe in men having masculinity, the space is for masculinity, it's because I believe that we used to be in a society where boys would go through initiation and it would be a very male affair, and it will be the uncles sitting down with them and ushering them into malehood, and it will be probably the uncle buying them the first beer, They have these people to hold them as they transition from boy into an adult male person, And now it's as if because of people moving to urban areas because of work and raising kids in very individual systems, a lot of young men are having to lean on social media discourse to get an idea of what masculinity is, and to form an identity as a male in the society. And that's why these grifters who are calling themselves high-value men...
You call them grifters?
Yeah, because what's this course? Why are you selling a course on how to be a high-value man? They sell those courses. Why are you telling a young boy...
What is the meaning of a grifter?
Yeah, I'm struggling.
It's you are essentially not selling anything really useful.
It's called grifting.
But
you just grift in life.
But you have
grift through life.
But you have packaged.
Is it like conmanship?
Yes, but you have not.
Is it conmanship?
Yeah, but no, I
think conmanship is better.
Yeah, it's like a legal form of conmanship. You have just packaged nonsense so well.
Yeah, you've packaged uselessness
so well, and you are exploiting the vulnerability.
There's a guy who told me that your friend is so repetitive.
So repetitive.
So what is it called? So I feel that males how the structures in the society used to before, it's the aunties ushering the girls into womanhood and the uncles doing that role. Yeah, I feel that needs to come back in the society, Maybe that's also when people tag me on Silas's post, you will never see me arguing there because
on whose post?
Silas Nyanchwani's
Silas
post.
Nyanchwani. He's your grifter.
Who is that?
No, I don't call him that. No.
Who is Nyanchwani?
No,
what does he do?
I find Nyanchwani to be a very thoughtful person.
Yes.
Silas Nyanchwani.
Yeah.
Silas Nyanchwani. We have to finish this podcast before you start Googling.
Nyanchwani, yes.
It sounds interesting.
Even sometimes, even when we argue, of course, on WhatsApp over stuff, it's someone who you can have a reasonable conversation with,
Journalist.
Yeah. And the reason I why when people tag me on his things, they will never find me contradicting him there. It's because I believe he has created this male space to have male-centered conversations. And as a woman, I should not be there woman-splaining my opinions to men when I've never been a man at any point in my life, Can
I ask you a question? do you believe in the idea of women looking for men to take care of them?
Oh, okay. Frame your question better with better context.
So there are women that probably do not want to work, or they work, but they don't want to use their money in their relationship or in whatever they're doing together whatsoever. So, for example, we have a man that is earning 150,000. Then we have a woman that is earning 170,000. But most of the time, when they go out, is the man paying. When they go for a ride, is the man paying. If she wants the man to pay for the apartment where she lives, she's going to the salon, she wants the man to be sending the money. What do you think about those grifters?
Female grifters. Grifting through life.
What do you think about that?
Jagero, context matters.
Yeah.
Context matters, First of all, I believe in the dating, in the courtship phase. Yes, I do believe those things need to happen. Those a man paying for the date, I don't know, sending flowers, it's...
You believe they need to happen?
Eh?
You believe they need to happen?
Okay, I cannot... again,
you can be accepting.
What is
When women are supposed to talk about their fellow women, they pussyfoot a lot.
No.
Yeah, because I'm just asking her. Like she's saying she believes, and I'm just trying to reinforce.
She's trying to find her argument.
Okay.
Yeah.
you know the beautiful thing. She's a very brilliant girl. Yeah. She saw I was going to corner her somewhere ahead.
Listen.
Okay.
But
as you know, I do not believe in someone saying they want to be like a baby, I believe that each adult person must take responsibility for their own life, Secondly, I believe that marriage is a dynamic that's built around a lot of common sense. A person who doesn't have common sense, I don't think they can be married. Because if the kids need to go to school and they can go to this good school if you contribute this amount. But because you are a woman, you say, my money is my money. I cannot do this. That's nonsense, really, Because, again, we come from a society where even a lot of people have been educated because their moms used to invest in chamas, and they would work, they would collaborate in the home. That's one. So, like I said, I'm a believer of common sense. And when you look at the country we live in, it's practically a huge population cannot survive with one income households, It's always two people working and collaborating to make sure the household stays running. So it's usually delusional to say that in this society, there'll be people saying, my money is my money, and your money is our money, because their taxes are crazy. People are not... The number of Kenyans who earn above 100K, they are a very small percentage,
Yeah.
We are all earning... A lot of people are earning 50K, 60K there. Which household with 3 children are you going to run on a 60K salary, It's common sense, and yeah, that's how households run everywhere, We can talk about the idealistic things we believe in, but that's what it is. But now when it comes to dating, it's an interesting dynamic.
Do you think there is an application of common sense in dating?
Yes, again, there is that as well. For example, I hear people, what do they say? I hear people saying, I must be taken to this restaurant, I must blah, blah, blah. The that is it. Are you trying to have the experience, or are you trying to go to this restaurant, you know? Because what I genuinely believe is, if the conversation is flowing, if there is enough mutual attraction between two people, things are going to happen very organically, you know? We will not have to revert back to rules. I don't know, you know? Yeah, like, people in real life are normal, apart from whatever, how we hear. You know, you hear people, they don't want to have coffee dates. You know, it's more of...
What do they want instead?
Like I usually say, it's nonsense, because even if you go for a coffee date with someone and you order food, they don't care. No one is going to tell you, don't order food. You know, like people say coffee date, like, let's go for coffee date. It's just, let's meet up. No one is telling you, you cannot eat on this date. At least in my experience, I have gone out with people and you order what you want from the menu, you know? So I usually find like a lot of these discussions, it's as if they're recreational social media arguments that do not really apply in the real, in reality, you know? Like, people in reality act normal. So,
all right, Odhiambo, we have to start this interview right now. Thank you very much. Hey, today, ulikuwa umekanyaga chini.
Radu wife.
Nilikuwa nimekanyanga chini aje?
Yeah, today you're very passionate. Very, very passionate, and I liked it.
What you must continue studying is the balance of patriarchy in the society and how it is advantageous.
Yeah,
to
maybe
women.
it is triggering.
It's very triggering. I agree.
Could it be triggering?
Somehow.
We could talk about that in another interview.
You know, I find like men, they mansplain.
Mansplain. This girl.
Thank you very much, people of the internet. It was very, very nice having you guys. I loved it. And this is Odhiambo Otieno, and this is La Patrona.
The Patrona.
Yeah, La Patrona. I like a Meru name that she doesn't tell anybody except.
Karemi.
Oh,
Karemi.
a very beautiful name, Karemi.
What does it mean in Meru?
It is. I whenever I hear it, it's very sexual in my head.
It is sexual.
No.
Yeah, it's very.
It has the most weird definition, which is, Karemi is a farmer, a person who farms.
This guy
Oh,
falls
fuck
in
it.
love with farmers.
Until another episode. Bye for now.